Telephone Alata la for Hetephonal for Islam stand for peace. La for Hetephonal for Islam stand for peace.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ilallahu Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Jidalang na Muhammad ya sallallahu alaihi wasallam. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and welcome to Real Talk Africa Ladies Edition. I'm your host, Shamima Muslim, and today we'll be discussing the Khilafat, the institution of the Khilafat, the institution that we all love, that we all follow, and we all pray to be strong each day. Today, we'll be hearing from my panelists, as well as the audience in here gathered, about the love that they have for the institution of Khilafat, and what that love has brought to them all this while. They'll also be telling us a lot of things about the sacrifices that Lajna members in Ghana, for example, have made to the contribution of the growth of the institution of Islam, Ahmadiyya, and the institution of the Khilafat. They'll tell us about personal experiences, the inspiration that they continue to draw from the institution of Khilafat, and also impacts they've made in the Jamaat and in the country. And of course, to the most important topic for today, how do Lajna members instill the love of Khilafat in the children that they bring? We'll hear from housewives. We'll also hear from career women who are combining both career and the role of mothers, bringing up the children in the way that they should grow, teaching them about the love for Khilafat, teaching them about Islam, and we'll hear all of these stories coming up. As always, you're welcome to join us with your questions, your suggestions, and whatever that bothers your mind. You can join us on realtalk@mta.tv. Otherwise, you can also send us an email at www.mta.tv/realtalk. In fact, that is the website which you can go to. So you can also send your comments to the website www.mta.tv/realtalk. So today, who will we be hearing from? I'll introduce my panelists right away. From my far left, we have Madam Fatiha M.A. Jesse. She is a headmistress of the T.I. Ahmadiyya International School. She is also the National General Secretary of Lajna Ima Ila. Welcome.
Thank you.
Also, we have our current National Sadr, Lajna Sadr. She is in the person of Mrs. Hafsa Obosu. Welcome.
Thank you.
Also, as a panelist for today's discussion, we have Mrs. Fatima Ewuzi. She is the National Nasirat Secretary. She's a teacher as well, and she also holds the role as the Lajna President for the Central Region. Welcome.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not the least, we also have Madam Sakina Bonsu. She is recently retired as the Human Resource Director of GridCo, and they are into transmission of electricity in the whole of Ghana. And we call her the Lajna Coordinator. Over 30 years she's worked in the public service, and she's also contributed her time to the cause of Lajna. Welcome as well. Very well. And now is enough time to ask, first of all, for your preliminary thoughts about the institution of Khilafat and the love for Khilafat. Let me start with you first, our Lajna Sadr. What do you understand to be the institution of Khilafat, and why do you think the followers of Islam Ahmadiyya love this institution so much?
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
When we say Khilafat, it simply means Imam of the age. So, when Imam passes away, there should also be another Imam. And these are the Khilafat. And the Khilafat itself is divine institution of leadership in Jamaat Ahmadiyya worldwide. The members of Jamaat have Khilafat at heart. Our current Khilafat is Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmed. Now, going back to Imam, our first Imam, who was prophesied by the Holy Prophet of Islam, is Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. After the demise of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmed, the next successor, which was the first divine institution established by Allah himself, is Hazrat Mirza Hakim Nuruddin. Then next after him is Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmed. Then next after him is Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmed. After him was Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmed. That is the fourth Khalifa. And the current one we have, who is the fifth Khalifa as Imam of the present age, is Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmed. In fact, going back to the love of Khilafat, we happen to meet our current Khalifa, who is Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmed. After his election into office, he came to Ghana, and that was the first visit in 2004. In fact, when we heard that our Huzur was coming to us, the enthusiastic manner by which the ladies, the Lajna members in Ghana, organized themselves to meet him at the airport when the day came, was not a small thing to even describe. We were so excited and happy. The young and the old, women, even the little ones, they all wanted to have a glimpse of our Huzur. So the love that we have is
spontaneous from what you're saying. I
can't even
feel
describe
the excitement from you now, almost reliving that experience. Yes. But come to you, Fatia, you deal with students and pupils every day as a headmistress. What do you see, even from children, expressed about the love for Khilafat?
Thank you, Shalima. Khilafat, as we are discussing, in Quran chapter 24, verse 56, Allah has said that Allah has promised to those who believe and do good works that He will make them successors in the earth, as He made successors from among the people before them. Khilafat is an institution that is here to stay. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, that there was no prophethood without Khilafat. All the prophets who came, they had Khalifas. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, before him, Moses had Joshua, Jesus, had prophets. Even Abraham had his children as his prophets. So Khilafat is an institution that is here to stay. And Ahmadis are being taught that we are the ones to protect this institution. So since I was a child, my father was a missionary. So when I was 4 years, I was taught Khilafat. I knew what Khilafat was. And 6 years, the third Khalifa, Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmed, when I was 6 years, he came here in 1980. And as you said, I was there standing there, and I didn't know what was going on. Why is it that everybody is so happy? Everybody is so excited. Who is coming? I really wanted to know that person. And when he came, he stood there, and all I saw was light. When I see him, all I saw was light. So from childhood, even at that young age.
Amazing.
So from that time, I knew that there was something special about the Khilafat institution. And I have grown in a mission house, and I know how the missionaries, they talk about Khalifa. And when I grew up, you know, when I started doing Lajna work and everything, whenever we say that the Khalifa says this, you can see the passion from people. Everybody is ready. And I am privileged to have started this Tia Ahmadiyya International School when I started with small, young, very young children.
And when we come to to the point of education, I would come back to you and have you tell us what your experience has been in the work of trying to instill in the children that you come into contact with the love for Khilafat. But what it means, and I'll come to my audience now, is that clearly an organization that lacks leadership is bound for failure. And we see the chaos in most other organizations that do not have a spiritual leader that guides and protects and counsels the Jamaat on the path that we should go. So we must count ourselves like, let me see, just how many of us in this audience have ever written to the Huzur before? Let's show by hands. So most of us in this room have that personal contact with the Huzur, sending to him problems that weigh heavy on our heart. And I'm sure many of us receiving answers as well. How many of us have children that have been given names by Huzur? Amazing stories we have to tell. So it's time for you to tell us your stories now. I'd come to you to also share your personal stories about your experience with Huzur. Who would like to go first? There's a mic, please. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, I am Mansour Agbeve. Okay, I used to be the reserved type, always feeling hesitant to participate in Ahmadiyya activities.
Volume.
Always feeling hesitant to participate in Ahmadiyya activity. When I was in school, I was having my exam, and I heard Huzur was coming. I was having my examination, and when he came, I said, no, I would have to see him. So Friday, I was to start the exam at 6 o'clock p.m. So I decided to come to Accra and go that day just to see him and go back. So I came in. The minute I got to Bustan, I saw him walking down through the information center. Right. So I just saw him, I said, wow. And I got back to school to write my exam. So after everything, I came out successful. After that, so I started participating in Ahmadiyya activities. Just seeing him even encouraged me to participate in Ahmadiyya activity, because before seeing him, always the executive that Amstag used to give me positions, but always ignore them. Yeah, I turned them down. But after seeing him, I was just encouraged to participate in Ahmadiyya
because
activities.
This is a life of sacrifice,
right?
Yeah. They commit themselves.
Yeah, because
to
I couldn't read that day. I had an exam at 6 o'clock, and I said no, I had to see him because this is the first time opportunity of seeing my spiritual leader. So I came very early. I set off around 6 o'clock a.m. and came just to see him and go back, prepare for the examination. And truly, I came out successful, though I couldn't read much.
And what for me I hear from your story is that it is very important that our spiritual leaders maintain a certain kind of physical contact as well with the Jamaat across the globe. Because for some, just the physical side of the one can reform a person and make the person rededicate him or herself to the cause of Islam. Narrator, thank you very much. Who else has a story to share? Please pass the mic around.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I am Fatima Eshen. I believe that we love Huzu because the belief of Khalifa, the word Khalifa, our belief in it is embedded in the fact that we think he represents Allah Almighty on earth. We know as Muslims, we have one faith, and the Khalifa unites us wherever we go. Why am I saying this? I was in Norway to do my master's, and I had just gotten married when I went. 3 weeks, I had a scholarship, and then I left. So that month, August, Uzu visited Norway, and I said, oh my God, this is a nice opportunity for me to meet Uzu.
If you didn't meet him in Ghana, you meet him in Norway.
Of course, that was yes, after he had been in Ghana. So I spoke to the authorities, and then I met Uzu. He gave me a pen. He said, oh, you are a scholar. So he gave me a pen. And the Khalifa, the Amir in that country also told me that I have to try as much as possible to be writing to Huzu about things. So I did as he said. And I had a problem with my school authorities. They were trying to sack me from school because I got pregnant. And they said it was not part of my course to be. They were somehow trying to bully me because I was enjoying a lot of benefits, and if I give birth there, I will continue enjoying a lot of benefits, and they didn't want that. So I wrote again to Amir, and he asked me to contact Huzu. So the community there sacrificed, they helped me a lot through my studies, and Huzu himself even brought me a check so that I can continue to stay in Norway and then have my master's done. This is one of the most greatest things that happened to me when I was there. And even when he came here in 2004, I was in my fourth year at the university. I had an exams, my final exams, and I said, no, I can't even concentrate on my books if I don't go to the airport to meet Uzu. So my roommates couldn't understand, actually. They couldn't understand, who is this person that you are leaving your books and going outside just to go and meet somebody? So I have to explain to them that this person, if I don't see him, I can't even concentrate. So I left my books, and then I went and I met Huzu. When I saw him, I was so excited. I was filled with goose, a lot of goose. I couldn't even move. You know, how he appeared at the airport and everything about him, the belief that he is representing Allah on earth, and that when we rise to him alone can even solve our problems. I think it is something that we should hold on to and encourage others to also try and rise to Huzu a lot.
Perhaps, and Jazakallah, and thank you so much for sharing that wonderful testimony. And so for me, what continues to grow our love is the fact that we know we belong to a community that cares. A community that will listen to us when we have a problem. A community that will respond to ease us of our problem. And this, for me, is why many of us continue to strive in the cause of Islam Ahmadiyya. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Hajja Slamat Banye. What I've seen in our Ahmadiyya movement, we are lucky and we are blessed of our Khalifaship. Because people are waiting to see the Khalifa, the whole world. Many regions, they wanted to see the Khalifa, but we are lucky and blessed. The Khalifa, we have seen him. And as the hostess said, they gave us instruction and we obey. When we hear the name of Khalifa, we become enthusiastic that we don't know what to do. My son is called Atawal Halim, Kofi Banye. Khalifa III prayed for us and we had it. Then he brought the name. When Khalifa IV came to Ghana, the child was a small boy. We are going to meet the Nigerian National Executive at Sopon, wanted to go and see, welcome Khalifa at a house there. They said, why are you bringing small child? I said, I will bring, because when we die, our children will take the banner. When you went, Huzu entered the Legina in Maila, the child salute. Then Huzu, the fourth, he made the child. Then I arrived there, and he said, I introduced myself, and I was overwhelmed. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Hajia Sadika Yebua. My experience is when I was very young, at about 10 years of age. I like playing very much, and when I have to pray, especially when my mommy is not in the house and I'm the eldest of the children, so she normally asks me to see to it that the children, all of us pray. And I also like playing too much outside. So when it's time for us to pray, we don't go to pray. And when my mommy comes, because I didn't pray, I have to lie to her. And this thing continued till I became a liar. I saw that, yes, I've intentionally become a liar. So one day, my mommy went to town and came, and when she saw me, she knew I didn't pray. She asked, Sadika, did you pray? And I said, yes. There was dust all over my feet. And she said, your name is Sadika, and Sadika means truthful. And why have you become such a big liar? So because of this, you know how to write. You should write to Huzul. And in fact, I was very sad when she announced that to me. And I decided to write to Huzul. I think it's Huzul Tahir. I wrote to Huzul and explained everything in my own words to him, and asked him to pray for me. So later, Huzul replied the letter and told me that he has prayed for me, but he's giving me assignment to do. That anytime that I'll talk and I will realize myself that I've lied in whatever I'm saying, I should say astaghfirullah 3 times, and then also went ahead to go and tell the person I lied to him, and then go ahead to tell the truth. And I started this exercise. It wasn't easy for me at all. But lo and behold, by doing this, I later tried to speak the truth, and always I've been speaking the truth till now. And as of now, what I experienced from that exercise is that anytime I lied, I'll get headache and I won't feel fine till I go and tell the person the truth. And this is my experience about the Khilafat. They are men of God and they are truthful.
That's amazing. It's amazing testimony you have shared. And we'll take the last contribution for this round and then move to the second issue.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
My name is Hajia Rahman Muslim. Let me quickly add that the institution of Khilafat Ahmadiyya has come to stay. Reason being that this institution has been planted by the Almighty Allah himself. Remember that after the Khilafat Rashidin, the door of Khilafat was closed. Not until the advent of the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wassalam. So we Ahmadis have been blessed to have this institution. And therefore, for us, Lajna Imaila Ghana, our love for the Huzur is supreme. Our love for him has no measure. We cannot quantify our love for Huzur. My personal experience, just one. There are a lot of them, but let me just narrate one. I was having a lot of problems with my marriage. And at a point in time, it became so critical, always weeping and writing letters to Huzur the fourth, constantly writing letters to him. To a point that I felt I was worrying him. And I wrote and apologized for worrying him so much. That letter went, and the following week, those days it was by postage, the following week I received the letter within a very short period of time. How even it went and how it came, only God knows. Then Huzur assured me that there is nothing going to happen to me in my marriage. But that I shouldn't worry at all. It is not a worry writing to him. I should write to him as many times as I can. And that inspired me. And so as for the love for Huzur, is no much at all. will continue to love him and love him. Huzur, the faith, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, you know, like Namela will pledge that in Namaka, Ya Masroor.
For sharing that wonderful testimony. May you continue to receive the blessings from Huzur and Allah. And I know that one unique thing that Ghana's Lajna has is our love for songs, our creative ability to create songs around the very wonderful themes and issues that we talk about. And so I know that our audience has a very wonderful song for us. So let's hear it.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik wa salim. Amen. Khilafatin shishano nyamina daba ayadum kasega nyamida dunya inti adasama mumra meshisha. Khilafatin shishano namun bezechi 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 Tiada sama mumra meshisha. Khilafatin shishano namun bezechi.
Thank you so very much for that wonderful song, speaking about the advent of the institution of Khilafat and why we all must come together and pursue and push and sustain it. So, sacrifice and Lajna. Let me start with you. Fatia, you've been dealing with young peoples and you're a headmistress of a secondary school. You know, a basic school, an international school. When we speak about sacrifices, some people think that, you know, Muslims are cloistered. Even if they would help themselves, they usually just help their own communities and they don't open themselves up to contributing to the societies that they live in. Is that a right perception to have?
No, not at all. When it comes to sacrifice, Ahmadiyya Muslim mission actually in Ghana is known to have to sacrifice a lot. And it's amazing how people testify, even if we don't even think that people know what we are doing. In the school, when people come, Christians come there and they want to bring their children, I ask them, why do you want to bring your child to a Muslim school? He say, it's Ahmadiyya school, isn't it? And I'll say, yes. He say, Ahmadis, we know you don't force us to do what we are supposed to do, but you have discipline. Ahmadis have discipline, and you always do things. And when they come and they see the children and how they are behaving, they want to bring their children there. And it's like they are saying, why are we not advertising for most people to come and bring their children? They say, Ahmadi people, you are good, you have health institutions. The perception of people about Ahmadis in Ghana is a bit different. They also know that Ahmadis are learned, and they call us the learned people. Yes, I have a friend who always says that, why don't you guys rest a bit? All the other Muslims are resting. The Ahmadis, why are you always learning? Why?
We have clinics,
we have schools, and they know that we have a lot of people doctors who are impacting, making a lot of impact in Ghana. So when it comes to sacrifices, I remember the time when Huzur was coming, and we had the opportunity, as Sadel said, to go to people's homes. We went to people's homes, and sometimes when you go, you see the person and you want to go back because you think that the person doesn't have anything to give to sacrifice. But when you say that Huzur is coming and that's why we are here, people went inside and brought their clothing, their jewelry, and said that go and sell this. They laughed and people cried. I had an experience, a woman, she cried. Just the fact that she was sick and she couldn't come out to see Huzur when he comes. She cried so much and she said, you can take everything here. If Huzur is coming and I can't go and see, you can take everything here. So this is the kind of passion that people sacrifices when it comes to Khilafat. When they hear Huzur coming, and even if Huzur is not coming, I have always been saying that by the mere mention of the name Huzur, people are ready to sacrifice their lives, their time, their energy, everything. They are ready to sacrifice.
Wonderful testimony there.
Another milestone in the history of MTA. Another sign fulfilling the prophecy revealed to the promised Messiah alayhi salam. I shall cause thy message to reach the corners of the earth. By the sheer grace of Allah, MTA's broadcast can now be seen on your mobile phone anytime, anywhere in the world. Watch MTA International wherever you are with our new mobile streaming service. Simply visit www.mta.tv on your iPad, iPhone, BlackBerry or Android device and choose the stream of your choice.
I'm Sakina. You organized the program. I call you the woman of many colors because you've been a public servant for 30 years. And throughout this time, you made time commitments. You were even editing the Khadija magazine for Lajna Imaila. They call you the Lajna coordinator. You never bat an eye when you're called upon to commit some time and resources to the fight of Ahmadiyya. And I know you've been working with an organization to promote sanitation and a green environment. And it was at a forum you organized that I heard a reverend of a Methodist church tell me that he was a graduate of T.I. Ahmadiyya Secondary School in Kumasi. And he said the successor, the person who has come after him also is a student of T.I. Ahmadiyya, a secondary school. When you hear some of these things, what comes to your mind and how do you feel?
Well, it's Assalamu alaikum. I think it is just emphasizing what our panelists, other panelists have already said, that this is still a blessed institution in which we who have been privileged to have access to it should hold it dear. It is true. At the forum, the very Reverend Frimpong Manson, the past moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Ghana, the moderator of Presbyterian Church is the highest position. He's like the Amir and missionary in charge. And he was a past student of T.I. Ahmadiyya Secondary School, Kumasi. The moderator before him was also a past student of T.I. Ahmadiyya Secondary School. So throughout the program, he kept referring to Dr. Muhammad bin Ibrahim, who is a member of Ahmadi community, as senior, because I think he was a senior in high school. And he said, once a senior, always a senior. But this is the marvel of Ahmadiyyat. We have trained doctors, pharmacists, nurses, so many people, engineers. They are all contributing a lot to Ghana now. And many of them are not Muslims. So it shows that the Ahmadiyyat is for the world. We have come for the world, and that is the institution of Khilafat. It is a blessing not only for Muslims, but for the whole world. But talking about the sacrifices, we are privy to the information that our current Huzur, when he lived in Ghana, he experimented the growing of wheat, and it was successful. So the report is sitting there. Today they are talking about setting up factories to mill wheat and all that. So if this report is ever taken seriously by the Ministry of Agriculture, it means the battle is won as far as the production of wheat flour and those things. Because if we're able to grow wheat in Ghana, then it means the raw material to feed these factories are going to be available instead of maybe importing them with hard currency. So this is one of the benefits that we derived from our Huzuru when he was here and lived in Ghana for 8 years. I mean, that's why we people say that, he's just a Ghanaian. He is a Ghanaian, Yeah, as far as personal level or marginal sacrifice are concerned, there's one thing I want to mention. Currently, we have an institution that is training people to be Hafiz. They are attending the Hafiz course. And Lajna members are so excited. They are pushing their little children as young as 10 years, 12, 11, 15, into this institution for them to become so much so that today we have about 20-something Hafiz in Ghana now, between the ages of 12 and I think 18. Isn't that amazing? And when you stand behind these young people, during Ramadan, stand behind them as imams, and they are reciting the Quran, it chills you to the bone. And now, like a 12-year-old boy, the most interesting aspect for me is when Amir released the first part, Isha, and then he takes his position back behind this 12-year-old Hafiz. And this person just starts reciting the Quran non-stop. Sometimes I find myself, the tears running down my face. And Lajna members are committing their children at this age to become, Hafiz. We have now gone to the extent of requesting Amir that we want a Hafiz school for girls. And Amir, at the last conference, the last Jalsa, if you heard him, he says, before Ahmadiyya is 100 years in Ghana, and we are on the way now, we are about 1921. Ahmadiyya started in Ghana in 1921, so 9 years and more. He says before we are 100 years, he's making that personal commitment that we are going to write and get permission from the markers to actually start a Hafiz school, a Hafiz institution for girls. So, I mean, these are some of the highs that Lajna in Maila Ghana want to take their, Ahmadiyya into. And I think it's marvelous. Yes.
It's amazing, and it defeats the negative perception that, the concept of a Muslim woman or maybe an Ahmadi woman is that of an oppressed, lonely woman in a certain corner in their home who refuses to engage at all in the society. And right here in this room, we hear people who have gone for their masters. We hear people who are back in the universities who are studying. We hear teachers. We have entrepreneurs. And this is a true reflection of that which Ahmadiyya stands for. And I know you're a personal example of that. You are a mother, you are a wife, you're a homemaker, and yet a teacher as well. You decided to take time and go and further your education. Thank you so much, Jazakallah, Auntie Sakina, for sharing that wonderful testimony as well about the sacrifices that Ahmadis as well as the Lajna members continue to make. And what it re-emphasized for most of us is that we defeat the perception that the idea of a Muslim woman is that of an oppressed, lonely woman in a corner in the room who is not allowed to venture into the world and make her contributions. Right here in this room, we know about people who are holding their master's degrees. We know about serious businesswomen who are creating jobs and contributing to the national economy. Even most importantly, about homemakers who are sacrificing their career and raising these children and committing these children to become Hafiz. And very soon we'll be having our female Hafiz. Maybe we even have them, but we haven't formalized them. We know that there exists young women who are really learned in the Quran. I aspire to be one very soon. But tell me, even on our panel, we have one example. And when I hear your story, I'm personally inspired because you are a mother, you are a wife, you're running a home, you are a teacher, and yet you took that brave step to go and further your education at the university. And as we speak, you are in your last semester, and here you are on a Friday, instead of being in school, sacrificing in the cause of Islam Ahmadiyya. How do you do it?
Thank you very much. I can remember 6 years ago, I was again hospitalized. At the hospital, I was given 5 pints of blood.
5 pints of blood?
Yes, and it all came out because the doctor said my body was allergic to someone's blood. I bled everything. So she said I should go home and check my diet. I asked, I was pending operation again. In African diet, what am I going to take to get a pint of blood again? So before I finished talking, she has written discharge on my folder, and someone else was prepared to take my bed. So my husband took me to the Boise Hospital. So on the theater bed, I told my maker that, oh my God, spare my life. Give my life back to me, and the rest of my life, I will use it to serve you. And I was awake exactly 2 hours after the operation. Well, that very year, I was elected a regional president. The battle started from there.
The
And
very year that you had committed that you're going
yes.
to put your life to the cause of Ahmadiyya.
At that period, I was the second president for Abra, Cape Coast. And soon after the operation, I was elected a regional president. And I was fortunate to be in the hands of the then regional president, Hajia Rahmat Muslim, who took me as a sister, a daughter, and everything. And wherever she wanted me to be there. And because of the promise I made, before I realized I was there. Let's go to Bolga, I'm there. Yendi, I am there. Sometimes I ask myself, am I the one doing it? I'm always moved in doing it.
And you were a teacher all this time?
Yes. After some time, I realized that the world is moving. I have to learn something small in addition to my teacher education. I happened to join a bus with one lady to Accra from Cape Coast, and the lady saw me in the veil and asked if I'm a Northerner. I said, no, I'm with Ahmadiyya. He said, is that your leader, Amir? I said, yes. Oh, the lady became a friend. She's a grown-up woman. And she introduced me to a coalition of NGOs. Mainly, they were female lawyers, female lecturers, and doctors. I've been with them for the past 6, 7 years now.
Amazing.
So I realized that where I have found myself, I have to further my education. So by then, my son was in the final year at the University of Cape Coast. So I applied.
So your son was in his final year at the University of Cape Coast.
Yes, please.
At the time you applied to be a first-year student.
Yes, please.
Amazing.
So I applied and I was invited for an interview. The same day, I was invited again for another interview for the position of principal superintendent. So I was confused as which one I'm to go first. I reported myself to the panel and they asked me to go for the promotion interview and camp. Fortunately, that year I had both the admission and so my son completed and I was enrolled. First year, I had my study leave and I left the classroom. So I'm a full-time student. And Radio ATL, Atlantic Radio, UCC campus, called, I don't know how they made me up. I was called to they called me to find out from me what has inspired me to come to school at this age. How old are you? I mentioned my age. No, majority of the students were listening. And some were shouting. And for about 7 consecutive Fridays mornings, I'm always invited to go and share
your story.
My experience.
So once you commit to the cause of Allah, He won't desert you, other than exalting you. Very well. Thank you so very much for that wonderful testimony. And for me, I think that the story we have just heard is an indication that we have tremendous potential to do too many things at the same time. Still work for the cause of God and still be able to exalt ourselves in our career and other fields. I don't know what stories you have to share, but I know that you do have stories to share. And we do have the mic in the audience. So anyone who wants to, first of all, share a personal story about sacrifice and contribution to the Jamaat and the country, we are happy to hear you. Who has the mic? Okay. Who wants to go?
I guess I would go. Okay. My name is Hala Yosen, and I'm currently a final year student in University of Ghana, Legon. Personally, when it comes to sacrifices, I had the privilege to attend my high school in T.I. Ahmadiyya Secondary School, Kumasi. And Alhamdulillah, I was made an executive. But before that, I was active in Ahmadiyya activities, Ahmadiyya programs, and I realized that most of my time, majority of my time was taken up by these activities.
Right.
So I became worried at a point that I'm here, I'm in school to study, so why am I concerning myself so much with these activities. After all, after school, I can do something in Ahmadiyya. But I took it into prayers, and I told myself that, inshallah, I'll be able to combine both the activities in Ahmadiyya and my education as well. And from that time as at now until now, I'm also holding a position in both Lajna and in AMSAC, that is the Student Organization of Ahmadiyya. And from senior high school till now, I can say I've not failed in any course. And I'm still proud to be associated with the Ahmadiyya institutions, Lajna, Khilafat, and as well as the AMSAC organization. And I'll use this platform to encourage other students as well, not just students, our mothers as well, that in as much as we find ourselves busy and tangled in our work, we should make time for Ahmadiyya, and inshallah, Allah will not disappoint you.
Narrate, Takbir. You know, I wanted to do something. You want to say something briefly?
About sacrifice. We are talking about sacrifice. Yeah. During one of our tours to the regions, former Lajna Sadr, in fact, privileged to have been the centenary Lajna Sadr.
I like the chair. Also privileged to be my mother.
During one of our tours to the regions, myself, my Naib Sadr too, and Hajia Chochu, Hajia Jamila Boatim, we were to go, but there was no vehicle. We went to the mission house and there was no vehicle. But what happened was that we did not formally inform Amir that we didn't have a vehicle. So we went for prayers. Then Amir prayed for us. When we were just about to leave, we asked, so how are you going? We told Amir that we didn't have a vehicle. We're just going to take a public transport and then we go. Quickly, Amir arranged a transport for us. Then Alaji Boatin also gave Mustafa, because earlier I had left, when I left the Amir and then Amir's residence, then he called and then said that Hafiz should arrange a transport for us. Alhaji Chocho also gave us a transport, and then Alhaji Elim also gave us one. So incidentally, we had three. Talking about sacrifice, because we had said that if there is no transport, we should stop, and I said no. Whatever it is, we will go to the regions. That is sacrifice. Then something happened in Brangahafu region. Talking about the love for Khilafat, there was an old lady, when everybody was sacrificing, bringing money, items here and there, this old lady came to our table. I don't have anything at all to give, but this is my veil. Whatever amount you can sell this veil, and also add it, my password to this amount that you are collecting, so that it will mean that I've also sacrificed for the cause of Khilafat Ahmadiyya. Do it. That day, the money that we got for that veil alone was something. So when they talk of sacrifice in Islam Ahmadiyya, let us Lajna Imaila intensify it, because there is a lot of blessing in sacrifice for the cause of Islam Ahmadiyya. There is great blessing in sacrificing for the cause of Khilafat Ahmadiyya.
Even when you don't know the end, especially when you don't know the end, let faith guide you. Wonderful testimony there. There's a young lady at the back who wants to share a story with us.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mansoura Bento. I completed the university at the year 2007. I was looking for employment. I was not getting. And so one dear friend of mine, who happens to be the daughter of Amir, she initially told me that she wanted me to work for Ahmadiyya. We wanted to establish a farm, so I should go and work there. And I was a bit reluctant, because stories I heard around were that people who worked for Ahmadiyya, the organization, were not paid well. And as a young graduate, I wanted to come out and work for a big firm and then earn enough money to support myself and my family. So initially when she told me, I didn't give her any positive answer. I told her okay, but then I did not go for it. And then she kept on telling me that I should go and help Ahmadiyya establish a farm. But then still I was a bit reluctant. 3 years I was sitting home without employment. And so my parents told me, well, maybe that's an opportunity for me, so I should go and then just work for Ahmadiyya. So later, 2010, December, Amir went for a program in August in Ethiopia, where they were trying to establish a bioeconomy Africa, where they grow organic substances, growing foods without chemicals, but artificial way, the natural way, not artificial. And so after the program, he told me that he wanted me to go there and study so that I can come and help the organization. So I accepted and then went to Ethiopia for the course. I came back. Now I'm on the Baggy farm, working with them. And the soil type there is bad. That place initially used to be a poultry house. Only crops, only beds. Because the soil was bad, they were not growing there. And so one of our principals took upon himself and then grew mangoes on the plots. And it was amazing. Huzu has been there, he blessed the land. At 1.5 years old of the mango plant, they started fruiting. It hasn't been so much, but then the little sign we saw there, it has been a blessing to me. It has been a blessing. And it has also introduced me to a whole lot of Ahmadiyya executives and as a national, a lot of people know me now. I recently got married and then my husband was introducing me to one of our Naib Amirs. And then he said, I know her more than you. Even though I've known you for a longer time, she is an Ahmadi Muslim who is willing to work for Ahmadiyya. That means she is not shy to show herself. She wants to be plain. And so I want to encourage everybody here, especially the youth, that if they sacrifice and work for Ahmadiyya, it will help shape their lives. Because if you are doing something bad, you know everybody is watching. Thank you.
Very much. I want to hear from you, Auntie Salma Farouk, because I know you have a wonderful testimony to share as well. Auntie Salma joined the Ahmadiyya movement a bit later in her life, and as we speak, she's a circuit president and also a national executive, committing her time, resources to the cause of Ahmadiyya.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Like the host, Shamima, rightly said, I joined Ahmadiyya through marriage, and after a while, I was into it. I go to the mosque, all right, but I was not really participating in Lajna, activities. But after a while, somewhere around 2000, the year 2000, I got very sick. I was pregnant, and I had to even go into coma. It was a very serious, problem for me. So whilst I was in the coma, my husband, wrote to Huzur. There was a lot of prayers, and then Alhamdulillah, I came out of it. And I realized that there was a need to really give myself, fully to the community. So I took the bayat, and then shortly after that, I think that very year, there was a conference, a Lajna conference was it Takrady also, and I participated in it. And since then, I've not looked back. And today, like she said, I'm my circuit president, Lajna president. I'm a member of regional executive. I'm also the project coordinator for national Lajna Imaila. And
Allahu Akbar. And it's amazing because if you take a step and you don't see fruits with that step, you won't go forward. So if you take a step, you can only go forward if you're reaping fruit. And that is the testimony and the lesson that I take from your life story. And we wish you all the best, and we hope that you grow stronger in Lajna Imaila. And I know we have a wonderful song to sing, because we've all, it's heavy stuff when we are talking about great stuff. So let's sing a quick song, and then we'll come up and wrap up with our last issue for discussion, how we are bringing up children.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Amaina sobi benye mawaji so mazembo echeche to wa no biribesiawa. Jisa modern bo, eche to wa no be besia wa. Amaina, obi maya maya, jisa modern bo. Yari modern bo no be ya. Yari modern bo. Yari modern bo no be ya. Yari modern kana be ya. Yari modern kana be ya. Yari modern na be ya. Yari modern bo. Eche to wa no be besia wa. Amaina, obi maya maya, jisa modern bo.
Narrate Takbir. And for the purposes of those who are listening and who don't understand what this song means, this song is about nationalism. It is asking all of us to put our shoulders to the wheel and contribute our quota to the building of our country, which means that Ahmadiyya does not believe that we only grow when we focus only on building Ahmadiyya, that this religion will grow as and when we also impact the societies that we live in. Thank you so very much, Jazakallah, as we say, to all of you, our panelists, and thank you especially to you, our audience, for making time and being here. We're hoping that we'll keep the conversations ongoing in our homes, within our families, amongst our friends, and even in our workplaces, and that our lives will be true testimonies about the true light of the world, Islam, Ahmadiyya, and the institution of Khilafat. On this note, we say thank you for joining us on Real Talk Africa. You can also join us on our website, www.mta.tv/Real Talk. You can also send us an email on realtalk@mta.tv. I've been your host, Shamima Muslim, and I'll leave you with a wonderful song from our audience, the Lajna Imaila members from Ghana.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, kama rabayani sagiran. Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, kama rabayani sagira. Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, kama rabayani sagiran. Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, kama rabayani sagira. Be merciful, oh Lord, to my parents. Be merciful, oh Lord, to my parents. Be merciful, oh Lord, to my parents, as they nourished me in my childhood. Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani, kama rabayani sagira. Be merciful, oh Lord, to my parents. Be merciful, oh Lord, to my parents. Be merciful, oh Lord, to my parents, as they nourished me in my childhood. Rabbi hamhuma kama rabayani,
Rabbi Amuma, Kamarabayani, Rabbi Amuma, Kamarabayani, Kamarabayani, Sagira.
Adumfunyami huamaba, humawofomaba. Adumfunyami huamaba, humawofomaba. Ahumabanyamiye, humawofomaba. I'm not eating me, Abrame Abofra.
Rabbi Amuma, Kamarabayani, Rabbi Amuma, Kamarabayani, Rabbi Amuma, Kamarabayani, Kamarabayani, Sagira.
Nare Takbir. Nare Takbir. Najna Imaila Ghana. Najna Imaila Ghana. Nare Takbir. Khilafat Ahmadiyyat. Khilafat Ahmadiyyat. Nare Takbir.
Adumfunyami huamaba, humawofomaba. Adumfunyami huamaba, humawofomaba. Ahumabanyamiye, humawofomaba. I'm not eating me, Abrame Abofra.